Hi, I'm Dr. Michaela Livingston, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make an agarose gel. In the hands-on DNA workshops, we need a way of analysing the DNA fragments that we produce, and the way that we do this is using gel electrophoresis, using agarose gel. Agarose gels are essentially long strings of carbohydrates which knot together to form a mesh. Now, because DNA is negatively charged, if you put a current on that gel with DNA in it, the DNA will move towards the positive electrode. And also, big DNA fragments move a lot slower than the small ones. That's because they find it hard to move through the mesh. So what you end up after a set amount of time of having a current going through this gel, you have a pattern of bands, of the bigger bands towards the top of the gel and smaller bands towards the bottom. You can separate a varying range of DNA fragment sizes depending on the concentration of agarose you use. In the hands-on DNA workshops, you'll be using one of two percentages, and we'll display these as we go through the simple steps. Place a weighing boat or a similar container onto your top pan balance, wait for it to get a reading and press 0. Once it's reading 0, you can start weighing out your agarose. Agarose comes as a powder, so you just need to weigh out the amount that you need. In this case, we'll use 2 grams. Now you just need to tip your powder into a conical flask and add the required volume of TBE running buffer. You'll see it goes white and opaque. Give it a little swirl around. To dissolve it, we'll need to heat it up. So to heat up your agarose mixture, just pop it into the microwave on full power, set it for a few minutes and go. After a minute or so, just stop the microwave and give the gel a bit of a swirl, have a look. You need to repeat this process every 30 seconds or so just to make sure it hasn't boiled over. Finally, the agarose will be completely dissolved and will look perfectly clear. You should leave the agarose to cool for a while, just 5 minutes or so at room temperature, just until there aren't any vapours left, and then you can add the DNA stain. Add the CyberSafe stain directly into the gel and give it a swirl around. At this point, you can either store aliquots of your gel in a water bath at 60 degrees, or you can just go straight forward and pour them. First of all, you'll need to put together your gel trays so you can mould the gel. So first, just put the rubber dams on, press them really hard to make sure they're sealed. And do that for both sides. Then place your comb at the end of the gel, and then slowly and carefully pour your gel in, making sure not to leave any bubbles. And you only really need to cover up the bottom, no more than 1 centimetre needed. And then you leave it. If you do end up with any bubbles, just take a pipette tip and move them off to the side or try and burst them. The gel will take about 30 minutes or so to set, depending on what percentage gel it is. The lower percentages take slightly longer. You'll know when it's set because it'll turn cloudy. Hot agarose can cause burns, so be really careful and use protective gloves. Also, the agarose can look settled, but when shaken, can boil over and superheat, so be careful. Never leave agarose in a microwave unattended. It can boil over, but also becomes hard and difficult to remove and can eventually burn. Before you pour the gel, make sure that it hasn't set. You'll be able to tell because it'll be a bit lumpy. And this is really important if you've stored your gels at all. Just give them a quick look before you pour. If you are storing the gels, remember to cover the tubes in foil, as this protects them from light. CyberSafe stain is sensitive to light. Once you've poured your gels, you need to rinse the flask out immediately with hot water. Sometimes rubber dams can become damaged or leak, and in that case you can use some high quality masking tape and simply seal it over the edge So just pull it tight, seal it down, and just give it a good press so it seals the edges. But be careful not to put agarose that's too hot into this, otherwise it will melt the adhesive and it will leak anyway.